Well, hello, Algebra 2. Mr. Lofstrom back again, and today's lesson, this is actually the answer to your opener. Okay, the opener asks you to take f of x is x squared minus 8x plus 7, and you were supposed to think and brainstorm if there was different ways you can do this. I think I asked for 3 ways to do this, and there's actually 4. So here's the answer to that. We'll walk it through. This is good review for the quiz that's coming up on Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday for day A, Thursday for day B. We take a look at this f of x is x squared minus 8x plus 7, and you could go to your calculator and have this graph, and let's see, it'll be something like this, and then you could calculate, in this case, it would be the minimum, right? And if you calculated the minimum, you will now know where x equals is my axis of symmetry, that x equals h right there, and the y value will be k for that minimum right there. And then you could use that to put it into the vertex form, or from there, I mean, you can find the vertex. So I think we were supposed to find the vertex in 3 different ways. So right there, we'll find the vertex. All right, that's step number 1. Okay, that's the easy way. Step number 2, most obvious. This is in standard form. We know x equals the opposite of b over 2a. Will be your axis of symmetry. Okay, so I can just plug this in and say I have the opposite of negative 8 over 2 times a, which is 1. X equals that, in other words, 8 over 2. X equals 4 is my axis of symmetry. Now that's not quite the vertex, but I know if that is the axis of symmetry, then the value of f at 4, so 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 7, 16 minus 32 plus 7, let's see, that's going to be negative 16 plus 7 is 23. Then I know that 4 comma 23 is the vertex. Well, that seems kind of high, doesn't it? Let me take a look at this. The opposite of b, 8 over 2 times a, 8 over 2 is 4. The value of f at 4, 16 minus 32 is negative 32. Yep, that was something wrong. 16 minus 32 is, you guys are probably all saying this, that's negative 16. Yep, and you add 7 to that, and you get negative 9. So our picture was a little bit off because we will have some x and y intercepts, but we have 4, negative 9 is the vertex. Okay? Other math teachers, no laughing there. Just it's a good moment to make a mistake here. All right. So 4, negative 9 was going to be my vertex, and we can do that using the axis of symmetry from the standard form. Okay. All right. Step number 3. I better change colors again because we're going to do this a different way. Graph it. Let's try to factor. And so if we factor this, f of x is plus and plus, 7 and 1 is about the only way, x and x. Oh, wait a second. A positive and a positive gives me a positive, but so does a negative and a negative. So we get negative 1 and negative 7. When I multiply, I get that. What form does that look like? The intercept form, okay? And so we know that there will be x-intercepts where x equals 1 and where x equals 7. How do we use, hopefully you just got this one, if I know that x equals 1 and x equals 7 is part of that, all this information, I should have just kept the graph up there from the beginning. Let's see, it goes through positive 7, it's going to come down here, it's going to go back up. We know this now is 4, negative 9, but now we just said that this was at 1, 0, that's an intercept, and this one is going to be at 7, 0. An intercept is a point, so I have put both of them in there. So we know when x equals 1, there's an intercept. When x equals 7, there's an intercept. So the intercepts are at 1, 0, and 7, 0. And what do? And they're off. We know that this axis of symmetry, again, is right in between. So we take the average of 7 plus 1 over 2, which is 8 over 2, aka 4. We plug it in. We'll get the vertex again. So there is step number 3. All right. That's pretty good. We got 3 ways to do it. We're good enough, right? Well, there's another one. what you haven't done is completed the square. So let's try to complete the square on this one. Run out of colors here. Let's see. Just good old plain black. How about that? So if I say that f of x equals x squared minus 8x, I'm going to put the plus 7 over here. Let's figure out what to add to this to make this a square. Well, half of negative 8 is negative 4, so we will add that amount squared. Now, in this case, usually what we've been doing for completing the square is we add this amount to this side and we add that same amount to the other side. And I'll do that. But what you're going to see, negative 4 squared is positive 16. That's always a positive. 16 will equal the quantity of x minus 4, the quantity squared, plus 7. And the next thing we're going to need to do is move this over here. So I'm going to subtract 16. If you peek ahead, why don't you just add the 4 squared here and then subtract it over there? It's the same thing, whatever you're comfortable with, okay? If you're going to keep on the same side, you could just add it here and subtract it there, or you can add on both sides and then you'll have to subtract. Remember, a square is always positive, so that's why we say add here and subtract out there, okay? So we get to this point, and now we know that f of x equals x minus 4, the quantity squared, plus 7 minus 16 is negative 9. What form of the quadratic is that? That's the vertex form, right? And so that should tell us that the vertex is, again, 4, negative 9. So we can take this original equation, graph it, use our calculators. Take the original equation, we kind of lost it, it was right in here. Use it to find the axis of symmetry. Opposite of b over 2a for the x value, plug it in for the y value for the vertex. You can use that, and if it's factorable, find the intercepts. From the intercepts, their average is the x value for axis of symmetry. Notice that axis of symmetry is pretty key in finding this vertex and understanding the problem. Or we can take that and we can complete the square and turn it into the vertex form, which should tell us the vertex right away. That, in a nutshell, is a lot of what you'll be doing. That's pulling all those together for the quiz at the end of the week. Good luck with that, and we'll correct your homework now, and a little bit later we'll move on to one other thing before you get to practice.